Honorable Senators, our point of departure is the sequence of events as prescribed under Section 33 of the County Governments Act. And definitely, as we sit here, it's not in dispute that the County Assembly has the jurisdiction, the first jurisdiction or the first instance in moving a motion for the impeachment of the governor. However, Mr. Speaker, in doing so, they must do so within the confines of the law and the edicts of the Constitution. They must adhere in the very least to Article 10, the principles and values of governance, and must do so within the provisions of Article 181. Therefore, before this House can admit this motion, it must then be satisfied, as we raised in our preliminary objection, that the threshold of the 2/3 majority of the Assembly was met. But in determining this question, serious issues have been raised on what transpired in the Assembly on that day, Mr. Speaker. Several clips, videos have been played in this House on what transpired. And what can be seen is that from those videos and the picture which has been painted is that for the first time, the Kericho County Assembly introduced electronic voting system. The MCAs had never been trained about this system. It has not been controverted by our colleagues from the side of the Assembly. It's also in addition that it is on the floor of that motion that the Speaker of the Assembly informed the MCAs that now the electronic voting system had been deployed. From the ICT officer of the Assembly, Mr. Alfred Kimtai, Mr. Speaker, when that question was put to him, he admitted that the system was deployed 2 days before. The MCAs had not been given an opportunity to interact with the system, create their own passwords, so that the vote which they are going to cast is going to be linked to a particular MCA. This goes to the verifiability of that particular vote. It is not about the numbers at this point. It's about the process within which that election was undertaken. Because an election is not just an event, it's a process, Mr. Speaker. It can also be seen from those clips which have been played in this House that there was a division in the Assembly. And when there is a division, the standing order requires that a roll call vote is taken on that issue. The issue was raised by one Gabriela, who has been called as a witness before this House, and was supported by 17 others, making a total of 18. And it is at that point, the standing order number 79, Honorable Senators, that required the Speaker to direct a roll call vote to be undertaken on that issue, Mr. Speaker. However, the Speaker of the Assembly instead went on to declare that the voting was going to proceed electronically. It is not clear why at this point, for a matter of this magnitude, because as we sit here, the decision that is going to be undertaken, that was undertaken by the Assembly, is going to take away the political right of the governor, because he was declared as the duly elected governor. But on the same breath, it's going to take away the decision and the will of the people of Kericho County. So that a matter of this magnitude, it has not been explained by the Assembly why was the rush to use the system, which was being piloted for the first time, to vote on this motion, Mr. Speaker. And looking at that system and the various questions which have been raised by the Honorable Senators, it's clear that the system had serious doubts. There were serious issues of manipulation, and the 3 ICT experts, as they came here, they could not clarify or clear the doubts which were raised by the senators. There was issues which were raised about the geographical location of the particular votes. And as we stand here, every vote could not have been linked to the geographical location. And the answer is one. The configuration or the manner in which the system has been set does not secure the votes. Mr. Speaker, it is also admitted, it's not disputed, that on the material day, I have heard the counsel for the governor indicate that the username is like the email address, and the password was unique, but in this case, it was an ID number. How many times do we sign with our ID numbers when called upon? It is clear from the list of even the laptops that was applied to them that they had to write their own ID numbers. As they signed various registers, Mr. Speaker, they had to indicate the ID numbers. So what is unique about the ID numbers when we talk about a password? And it is clear from the 3 ICT experts that the two-factor authentication or the multi-factor authentication was not created for this system, so that every particular vote can be linked to the MCA. Also at the same time, from the Hansard at page 195 of the governor's Bado, the Speaker himself of the Assembly publicly announced that the ID number is the password. So it was no longer a secret of what the password was, Mr. Speaker. And at the same time, issues arose about whether the MCAs had brought the tools of trade, particularly the gadgets which were required to conduct business. But as it has been shown, is for the first time they were going to use electronic voting. No prior notice had been given to the MCAs, and that was declared on the floor. So that when the MCAs have given evidence that they did not have their phones, they cannot then be faulted, because in the normal conducting of their business back in the Assembly, it is for the first time that they were required to use their phones. Mr. Speaker, it has also been shown also about the user name, which is not disputed, that the first link had all the usernames. And every MCA had access to the link and could then access the username or the IPPD address for the MCAs. And with that, Mr. Speaker, the case for the Assembly is that they voted. But the question the House should ask is the verifiability of these 33 votes. Can you link the vote of each and every which was casted or which is said to have been casted to the particular MCA? It has also been admitted that the MAC address for the devices used in casting these votes could not be submitted to this House by either of the ICT officers. And with that, even as we narrow down, on the governor's side is that 18 MCAs did not vote. And narrowing it down is that there are 4 disputed votes in this case. That's the vote of Martin Kiprangat, who testified yesterday. We have the vote of Kibet Mosuben. We have the vote of Amos Biril and Edna Chepkirui. And just to attempt to address the issue of Edna, she has 2 conflicting affidavits. And as the Assembly is faulting the governor's side for not calling this witness, they have equally not called her to come and produce this affidavit. And as such, we are left at a point whether indeed she did sign that affidavit with the Assembly. But also we have the clip of Kibet Mosuben, which was played where he received a call from Mr. Logon, who was the motion mover. And the best defense the motion mover would give was that that's not my voice and I do not drink. But he has not given controverting or evidence to controvert that evidence. He has not given his call logs to say, on this particular date, I did not call Honorable Kibet. He has not controverted that clip apart from just denying, which is so easy to say, that's not my voice as it is, even when clip has been played. And so that, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, from the system, without these doubts being created, the ICT officer from the Assembly could not supply the system security certificate for this system, could not supply the penetration certificate for this system. He also admitted there was no personalized password which was created for every MCA. And what was available as the password was the ID which was available to other third parties. So that the question then the Honorable Senator should ask, how secure was the system? And how verifiable is the vote which was cast? Honorable Senators, as you look at the affidavit of Mr. Alfred Kimutai, the ICT officer, at paragraph 23, 30, 31, and 32, it is his admission that the system designed is very simple, accurate, verifiable, secure, and user-friendly. However, with the doubts which have been created about the system, has it met those standards? But also in the same breath, even after this House, let me use it on a right note, ordered for the server to be opened, and the ICT experts had to testify, it has created more doubts than answers to these honorable senators about the verification of the votes and the security of that system. And it's not even in any way comforting. But if that doubt then is there, and the verifiability of the votes cannot be proven, the integrity of the system cannot be proven, it cannot then be said the 2/3 threshold was met. And it is thus our submission, Mr. Speaker, that the jurisdiction of this House has then been prematurely been invoked in this case. And the charges and the motion by the Assembly should not be admitted. Thank you. We can have my senior pick it up from there.